the volume.
Turn up the volume.
You've arrived at the destination for all things Kentucky. This is the Bleed Blue Network Podcast.
What is going on, Big Blue Nation? We were hoping for a non-roller coaster week of emotions. Of course, we did not get it. Get a W beginning of the week. Can't quite close it out against Bama in Rupp. Salena, we were talking before we recorded or before we started recording, and we both agreed, not sure how many teams in the country could have beat us on that day. Outside of Bama, I think we played pretty well. I know you got some takes on the game, but before we get into the men's side, let's talk about women's ball because they are hooping right now, and the SEC is officially on notice.
Yeah, no, they are steamrolling right now, I think is the best way to describe it. They were at Georgia today, won that game 78-64. They were not cursed for the discrepancy that happened in Georgia, so that's good for them. Maya has a double-double, 14 points and rebounds. Listen, Clara Strack and Georgia Amore, that duo, that is a deadly combination. They both had 38 minutes. Clara had 12 rebounds, 25 points, 4 assists. Georgia Amore, 38 minutes, one rebound, 8 assists, 24 points. I mean, I said this on my women's podcast. I don't know what they have to do to get more respect. They're 16-1. They're 5-0 in the SEC, and especially since that UNC loss, they have not looked back. Like they have not gave teams even a chance in these games. Like it is smackdowns every single time. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like keep it rolling. And they play at A&M on Thursday at 7:00. But they're so good. Like I just wish they get respected how they need to be.
A super talented team, well-coached team, and we've been harping on it, all season. You're right; they're not getting the recognition they need outside of the Kentucky fan base. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take going and beating LSU, beating South Carolina. You got to kind of, if you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champ type thing. So if you want that big time recognition, you got to go get a W against one of those big teams. But they're capable, and South Carolina, I believe, has already lost this year. Is that correct?
Let me double check. Their score really quick here.
I think they took an L, but
they did. They took an L to who beat them? Let me see. UCLA beat them.
So not the untouchable South Carolina of the last few seasons, or like the UConn of old, where it's just they're going to go undefeated. It's them and everybody else. There's some parity,
right.
A lot of talent, and like you said, Georgia is the facilitator, the bucket getter. She can be whatever she needs to be, and she's got a lot of talent around her that makes her life easy. I don't know if you caught the interview she did. I believe it was before the Mississippi State game with Karen Mills. That was fun.
I adore her personality so much. She's
we knew kind of the relationship she had with Kenny Brooks. I mean, that's why she came here. But the way she talked about him, and there you could tell that she, that's, I don't know, father figure might be a little exaggerated, but it's that sort of thing with her being from Australia, coming over here. A lot of trust from her and that family to put their child in his care, and there's a lot of respect there. And with her being with him for so long, who can be that extension of the coach on the court.
And she is 100%. She is a little mini Kenny Brooks on the court. Yeah.
And to have that mind, that basketball IQ, and to be one of your best players, it takes me back to like the way we talked about Tyler Eulis when he was here on the men's side. It's just like the dude had the respect of the whole team. He had the talent, could go get a bucket, but more importantly, he just saw the game like a coach saw it. And he was playing chess out there, and everybody was playing checkers type thing. She's
Tyler
impressive.
Eulis, come home.
Oh,
come back
he
home.
needs to.
Just come home. We see you wearing blue on the sideline. We get it. Just come home. Just come home. Sir,
yeah, he didn't respond to me, but he put some stuff out on IG, some motivation thing, and it might have even been like an ad for a suit. I don't know, but he was dressed up nice on the sidelines, and I was like, hey, we're wearing suits in Rupp now. Like, you can come on, bring the wardrobe with you, and we'll absolutely take you. Unfortunately, I think his basketball mind might be being wasted out there in Arkansas, but that team ain't even worth talking about until we play them here in a couple of weeks. So unless you're Jay Will, because that dude, he can't keep Kentucky out of his mouth.
It's because, and listen, we do it every time, and it's just who we are as a fan base. But like, if you come for Big Blue Nation, we're going to come back at you. Like, is what it is. And it's for him to say that it's because we give them so much attention. It's like he's completely ignoring all the crap that was thrown at us for all preseason.
Oh, yeah.
Because of having Pope, and like they thought that this team would be terrible, that we'd be bottom of the barrel, and like they would be like number 1 or number 2 in the CCE, and like they'd be rolling. And it's like we ate that for so long until we could finally now say, yeah, no, you're wrong. We're right. You're wrong. Like, it's I don't know why he felt the need to say that, unless he just wanted attention, which clearly he does.
He thought he was dropping some wildly cool take. Let's keep it a buck. Like, dude, come on, like enough. Like, you're not even cool enough to say that in any circumstance, whether or not you're on TV or not.
He's like a little petulant child that wants attention, and like he knows that he'll get it from us, and so he says off the wall things to get that attention. He's a Dookie,
so it's natural he's going to take some shots at Kentucky. I get it, right? But yeah, it's just there was no need for it. It was a wildly off take for no reason. Like, hey, if you want to talk about it, even if you are like, I believe Cal's going to figure it out. Like, you think he's a good coach and can figure it out whether he's going to recruit better next year or this season something's going to click. His quote unquote tweaks that he always used to throw out to us in the past. Like Seth Greenberg. Like, Seth Greenberg is going to continuously be on Cal's side, whether or not he goes completely undefeated or not, or completely defeated in the SEC. It's not gonna matter. Seth Greenberg is going to be on Cal's side, so that's fine. But there's no reason to bring up Big Blue Nation and say their inability to win games over in Fayetteville is because Big Blue Nation is so loud. And a buddy of mine who is the Tennessee fan on the Border Rivals podcast, I sent out there because that tweet that I put has like there 100,000 something views and a bunch of likes. So there's a lot of people that hate Jay Will just as much as we do, which makes me feel good.
Perfect. Love it.
I sent it to him and I was like, hey, people hate Jay Will just as much as I do. And I was happy about it. And he was like, I think y'all are blowing this out of proportion. He's looking at it from just a Tennessee fan, not Kentucky, so he's slightly unbiased. My point was just like what you were saying. This whole offseason, how many times we hate this is Cal U. The Cal brand is bigger than the Kentucky brand. Like, the reason why we were so good over the last decade and a half was because of the Cal resurgence, not because Kentucky was the premier spot to play college basketball. And a lot of us got really upset at that, including folks like Rajon Rondo, who was like, no, that Kentucky was Kentucky before Cal, and it'll be Kentucky after he's gone. And Pope has just continued to prove that. Not only is he a basketball savant and a brilliant mind, and he has a great staff, but the brand in of itself is selling the fact that this is still where you want to play if you want to be seen and have a great opportunity at like high level success in college basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And look, before people dig up tweets from 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, crap, who's going to come in here and bring the level, maybe not the level of success, but the excitement that Cal had at Kentucky? Because as UK fan, we have a certain level of pride within the program and like within the this tradition, the history, and it's really hard for UK fans to be like, yeah, we're not good. Like, and that it was just, you know what I mean? Like, we'd already had kind of fallen so far, and I was like, who can come in here and at least give us some excitement, right? I mean, every year with like recruits or whatever, like how it does. And it took me all of 12 hours to hop on the Pope train. And now I'm not hopping off of the train, obviously. But I was not the only one that felt that way whenever we were like, crap, Cal's gone. Who are we going to get now, right? Like it was mass panic. So
the minority of the fan base was the one saying, hey, Pope is a great hire. And really, I think the minority of the country, it was the folks who had played for him. We had Jordan on a podcast in a space, and he talked about Pope when he was at Utah Valley. And it was folks, hey, like if you are just ignorant to what he can do. And a lot of us were, and that's why we got upset. And the reason why I was in the same boat as you, I thought, if we're going to get to a Final Four, Cal's the guy because it's going to be a talent. He had started to find some success in the transfer portal. You know, Sheway came in, Antonio Reeves. So I was like, if we are going to make a jump from first weekend exit to Final Four, it's Calipari. Not necessarily for his coaching, but for the ability to bring in talent. And kind of going against what I just said, it's you forget the Kentucky brand is what it is, and the talent will still be here. Let's just go find the mind that can coach that talent. And, you know, Mitch Barnhart has done some things that we don't agree with, and he should be held accountable for. But let me tell you what, when it comes to these last two basketball hires so far, he has smacked him out of the park. It doesn't absolve him of some of the negative publicity that's been out there. But for these hires, he has done great. This baseball hire is awesome. So like he has found the talent, and the last thing out there is, does the football team figure it out? Right. I think that's the big thing. But we made a promise, didn't we?
We're not going to talk about that.
We're not talking about football. That was a promise that I almost broke it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. But let's talk about Mississippi State. What did you see in A&M? I'm sorry, Texas A&M.
A&M.
We also got a Mississippi State win. I think we already talked about that one.
We did that. Yeah.
The colors are the same. I'm getting all confused here. They're close, right? They're close-ish.
They're close. Yeah, they're close-ish. Yeah, I'll give you that.
But yeah, so A&M, outside of one of the, I don't care what people or what somebody on Twitter says, and I like this man, but it was a bad take. That was an amazing dunk. But one of the best dunks I've seen in Kentucky history. I don't know why he's choosing to die on that hill, but good grief, he did. And he's an ally, but I saw that and I was like, I'm just going to stay away. But
I was like, well,
okay. Yeah. Oh man.
That was the classic poster. Like, man got head thrown back, face was like classic poster by Owe in that game. Like
the bird's eye view shot that would have just and he had been searching for one of those. He had been seeking a poster. And he had gotten sent back a few times, but that one, boy, he was not going to be denied. Take off, and he didn't land, man. He just stayed on top of that dude. But that was a game that I think we really needed because we had shown that we could get up for a big matchup. We'd also shown that there had been some letdowns in the follow-on games after that matchup. It was a ranked opponent, and we went in there and got a W. How do you think that set us up in the future? And then I guess, how do you think that set us up going to the Bama game?
Well, I mean, okay, first off, that's payback. I know they did not have Wade Taylor. I get that. He is their engine, little go guy, makes things happen. But A&M is what A&M is, right? They rebound like crazy. They seek fouls out. And we were able to take care of business. We actually out-rebounded them, which I was really proud of because that was the biggest concern of mine for that game, just because I know rebounding is a problem for us. J-Rob had 8 rebounds himself, which is huge as a guard. So I think that was a big win in general, and that was a good thing. As far as standing for Alabama, we were beat the hell up. I'm not gonna lie. Like, our team is beat up right now. Carr, his back is so jacked up, he can't even bend over. And like, look, I give kudos to the dude for playing. Like, back problems suck. I have them. I get it. So shout out to him for toughing out and playing. But it was a detriment to the team yesterday because nobody could guard Grant Nelson. And I don't think we have that problem if Carr is healthy. I don't think we have that issue at all if Carr is healthy because he guarded homeboy for Duke.
Flag or Nipple?
Yeah, Cooper. He guarded Cooper.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying Grant Nelson is as good as Cooper. I'm not at all. But it's just I don't think if Carr is healthy, I don't think Nelson gets 19 in the first half. I don't think there's even a conversation.
I honestly don't think that was even maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't think Nate Oates went into that game with the game plan being, let's get Grant Nelson as many touches as we can and let him be the game. I think he was the game high scorer, and he had definitely a season high, might have been a career high. I think that was a in-game switch up of like, Grant is able to get to the hoop and he's getting fouled.
Yeah.
Because the first shot he took was just way off from three. Grant Nelson
some of the threes he throwing up was awful. Like, it was terrible. But I also think Nato's plan was to drive the ball and get in foul trouble because I don't know if you saw the stat, but UK allows opponents to score, I think it's like 52.7 or 56.7% of the time on 2-pointers. And so that's a defensive issue at the point where we have to allow people to stop getting the ball that deep in the paint on us. But that was the game plan because then it switched to the end where we were guarding the paint more, and then they started hitting the threes at the end of the game. Like that's the game plan worked, essentially what it was. And I don't think Grant Nelson was the game plan at all, but as a coach, you have to exploit what you have, and he was able to exploit Carr and whatnot with that. Butler's beat up too, like his shoulder, knees, ankles, I don't know, his whole body at this point, he's got beat up.
Yeah.
And that's rough. I mean, Owe did Owe things. Even though he lost, he was my MVP because he was due for a big game and he took over at one point. So I don't know. What did you think? I like this though. What did you think about some of our offensive sets? Because I have a hot take for this, but I want to know what you thought about some of them.
I think some of them were. I think execution was off on a lot of these sets that Pope was trying to run, and I think that is because the rotation was jacked up. We saw some lineups that I don't remember seeing so far in the season with different 5 on the floor where they're trying to find something with either foul trouble. Jackson got in foul trouble early. That is a trend clearly, and that makes sense. But when Lamont or Jackson have gotten into foul trouble early and are missing minutes, it's tough, especially when those, when it's the beginning of the first half, or I think Jackson had 4 pretty quick in the second half and had to sit out. But yeah, so I think without going back and look at it, it just seemed like some of those sets that are normally pretty clean didn't get executed very well. And I see where you're saying we were beat up. I don't want to be too tough. A lot of them seem kind of, not a lot. There were some that seemed lazy. I think that was the other thing. Some of these cuts.
We did a lot of ball watching. Ball watching was lazy.
A lot more standing around than I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. So here's what I noticed, and this might have people at my head or they might agree with me. I don't know, but I noticed that on some of the plays, and this happened in the game too. Look, I love Lamont Butler. I love that kid. But there were times he was doing too much. he would, I'd probably count 5, 6, 7 like times he would drive to the paint, get stopped, and then be stuck. And that kind of killed that set. He had to throw it out or throw up a wild shot that didn't get us anywhere we needed to be. And Amari had that issue in the first half. Like, I love Amari too. Like, he's doing, like, I've told you, like, hey, he's getting a lot of hate, but he's showing up. He was trying to do too much as well in the first half at some points. But I noticed, and I think, like, even Butler had been in the game where he just kind of dribbled in a circle for like 15 seconds. We didn't have time for him to dribble in a circle. But there were so many times. Yeah, he had to go up. Yeah, like, he would just go down the paint, stop, and then he would try to fake them or whatever, and then he couldn't, and he'd throw a shot up or try to pass it out, and it just kind of disrupted the flow a little bit. And again, I noticed that yesterday because that was so, I guess, like, uncharacteristic of him in general, because usually he's going in, like, run somebody over, right? Like, he's going through someone's chest, and he didn't do that as much yesterday as he did before. So I don't know if it was due to hurts that I want to do it or what. But that's my take. Like, some of those sets were really jacked up. So
yeah, so he has put on film, and some of it has resulted in the injuries or the injury scares where he'll drive to the paint and he'll do either a hard jump stop in the lane to try to get the defender up in the air, or he'll do just a quick deceleration where he try to go from 60 to 0 as quick as he can. So he has put that on tape to where, hey, if he's driving, wall up, don't jump, don't bump. But he did get someone at the end of the game to jump on that pump fake, and he got the and one. But yeah, he has shown that that keeping his dribble continuous so he doesn't get stuck. He'll get in the lane, like you said, and get stuck, pick up his dribble and not know what to do, or be able to kind of get boxed in there. But when he is decisive and goes it through someone's chest, he has shown an elite ability to get to the rim and finish.
Right.
That was one of the takes we had before.
Though. Like, I felt like he did less of that yesterday. He just maybe it wasn't. Maybe he just, like, I can't get hurt again. Like, I literally can't get hurt anymore. Like, and maybe that's what it was. But then at that point, as a player and even the coach, you have to adjust. Like, okay, you know what? Don't drive so far down then, right? Like, maybe stop right at the free throw line, do a quick, like, floater from the free throw line versus going all the way to the rim. I don't know. Like, and that's not to say, like, we didn't play great. Or, I mean, we had 97 points. And any other team, we're going to win that game. Just Alabama is good. Like, I even told someone yesterday, I think they're better than Tennessee. Like, I think if you look at the teams in the SEC, it's Auburn, Bama. Like, I think they are very similar in how they score, and how they play. Like, I don't know. I think they're better than Tennessee, but who knows? I'm not. Yeah, I'm mad that we lost, but I'm not like, oh my god, end of the world that we lost. So.
Yeah, if we, getting off the game for a minute, if we're looking at just the SEC, I do think Auburn, unfortunately saying this, is in a tier of its own. The way they've had very close games, they've been able to figure out how to finish those games. They don't have their best player right now, and they're still winning games on the road as well. And then you have, I think, Bama, Florida, Kentucky maybe in that group. And, you could throw Tennessee in there. Their ability to play on the road, that's got to terrify you if you're a Vol fan, because they just are a completely different team outside of TBA. And as worried as we were about Jackson Robinson trying to figure it out offensively, I know Tennessee fans are exponentially more worried about Chaz Lanier figuring out, because since SEC play, his offense production has just absolutely tanked, and they're having to rely on Ziegler to do a lot of the scoring and one-on-one offense. My goodness, as Lamar Jackson just fumbled and Von Miller took it back to the 20. Good grief, that's a silly play. Can't do that. But yeah, I do think. We start off the show this way. You name a team in the SEC. You say we shoot 40% from three. We win the turnover margin. We win the assist margin. I
Okay, let me put it this way. We won every single margin except the free throws.
The free throws, right? Yeah.
They shot 14 more than we did. I have the graphic on my phone. We won every single margin except free throws again. And I don't know if that's just because we don't seek contact the same way other teams seek contact, but I swear we get hammered. Like Lamont Butler and Amari, I mean, they get beat up. Especially Lamont, man. Like
unfortunately for Amari, he's just so damn big. So that we see that contact, but I think they just let that happen because he's so big, which isn't the right answer. You almost need someone put out there about getting some drama classes for these boys so they can get some little flop action going. But we talk about seeing contact. Yeah. Travis Perry went for a loose ball, and got Derrick Henry stiff-armed and no call. And then right the other way, Otega goes for the ball. He gets pushed off the other way, and it goes in, in transition for a Bama bucket. So I'm not exactly sure what they need to do. I know for sure if you could question some home cooking for other teams, you can't question it for Kentucky because that was neutral at best.
Those refs, never. I get so frustrated when people say, "Oh my God, they're cooking a rep again." I'm like, where? Where is the home whistles? Like, point them out, please. Like, we don't get them.
No. It just. But that being said, like that game was there for the taking. There was some possessions we had, and I was watching that game from my phone in the youth basketball gym as my son was getting ready to play. I think Pope went to a zone late in that game, and it was either 2 or 3. I don't know if they were back to back, but they were in a pretty close sequence of each other where, Sears and then I don't know who the other guy was, the other guard. I don't think it was Youngblood.
No,
jacked
it was
up like 30-foot threes that cashed. And you're like, what are you going to do with that? I mean, the team was shooting 32% beforehand. They shoot 38% when they come to Rupp. Unfortunately, I think what hurt us the most was they went 0 for 12, I think, for a stretch. And then in the second half, towards the end of the game, they didn't miss. So, they went 0 for a while. But then when they needed to make them, they did. And those were just daggers because Ansley would come down. He hit a big three, and then they would catch a three. Lamont made a three or a three-point play, and then they would come down, hit a big bucket. So trading back and forth. You asked about you went over the sets on those games. I'll ask you. My take was Carr's inability to finish at the rim just because he could tell he was in pain. Everything was short for him. And also in all the games we have won, Duke, Gonzaga, Florida, it came down to it was a very close game, whether we had to lead or had to come back. But in that 4-minute stretch, we got multiple stops, clamped down a ball scorer, and was able to get in either transition or get into a set to also score.
Yeah.
At best, in the last 4 minutes after that timeout, we could trade buckets. We could not get a stop. And unfortunately, when we did, it was an immediate turnover in transition that happened. So that was my take. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that loss happened somewhere else?
I agree. We again, I said this because I know Carr caught a lot of flack yesterday. If Carr's healthy, I don't think the game's a problem whatsoever. I think we win by 10 plus if Carr is healthy. I do. So that being said, whatever. But yeah, no, I agree with you. We could not get a good defensive stop, but a lot of that, as we said earlier, is because we got lazy on the rebounding. Like I know a couple of times our guards were standing in the paint and they were watching the ball, and Sears hit 2 threes that way because we weren't even close to him, right? And they had the rebound, and we're trying to rush him, and those are the difference in the game. If he doesn't hit those 2 late threes that he hit because he's wide open, I mean, we're probably going to win the game because it was like 102-97, right? So we might win the game in that regard. But yeah, no, I agree. We had a lot of shots just go in and out that were on point and they just didn't go down. Ainsley had one, BG had one, and then Travis Perry had one also. It's just, it is what it is, and we still shot 40%, still lost, and that's not going to happen many more times. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I hope not. In the pregame show we did, I thought we were going to need not a special game, but a very good game from Brea and or Ansley. That they made shots, but they didn't have the 5-4-7 game. One of them had that kind of game we were hoping for. That I think we thought we need against this Bama team. So that we're going to have to play them again. We're going to Bama. It's going to be something that's what I think we need to lean on. But my other take was, and you mentioned this too, against Texas A&M, one of the best rebounding teams in the league, we win the rebound margin. But then this game, we kind of reverted back to it. I don't know what the second chance points were. We had 15 offensive rebounds, just like we had 15 we allowed 15 offensive rebounds, just like we allowed 15 offensive rebounds against Florida. Florida got 31 points off of that. I think the difference was we shot 48% from three on that Florida game, so it kind of masked some of those issues. And there's a difference, right? That Florida game, we give up 15 offensive rebounds, but we score 106. We do the same thing this game. We can get away with that. We end up winning. Unfortunately, just some of those buckets didn't go down.
They out-rebounded us by 4. That was it. And I'm not random outlying. The biggest discrepancy is the fact that they shot 14 more free throws. I mean, that is it. That is the difference, because 20 assists, we had 8 blocks, 6 steals. We only had 8 turnovers a whole game, which is really freaking good. We outshot them. Field goals, 3-point percentage. They just shot 29 to 34 free throws. We shot 16 to 20 free throws. That is your difference in your ball game. So
yeah, and the misses, I think, need to be highlighted too, where I think 2 of them are at the front of a 1-on-1. So where it only shows not so many misses, but when you miss the front of the 1-on-1 and lose that opportunity to at least get 1, maybe 2, and it's just empty possessions essentially, that's tough. All right, let's talk about BG shooting threes.
Shoot
I
them.
feel a certain.
Shoot
okay.
them. Listen,
okay, I might feel a little different about that, but I'll let you go ahead.
I'm not saying shoot every one of them that you have open. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. But if he can hit 1 or 2 a game, that will cause his man to be on him more, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
And that opens the paint up for more backdoor cuts, screens, whatever. Because when Amar's running the offense, if you notice, they give him like 5 feet of space. They're like, shoot it, because they know he cannot shoot it. And I'm not saying all of them. BG, don't go crazy and start shooting every 3 you have. But if you give me like 1 or 2 a game, and your guy's like, all right, shit, now I got to go guard him, that gives us more space to run our actual sets. So I'm not saying all of them, but if you can hit them at least 1 or 2 a game, I'm happy. I'm happy.
All right, so I agree with that. I think if that's going to happen, though, if BG's going to shoot 2 or 3, 4 a game, it's got to be...
No, not that many. Oh, Lord.
Okay. But that's what he shot. I think he shot 3 in this game.
I know, he did. He did.
Hit 1, which is good. I think those threes have got to come in where we're up, or even if the game's close, it's not, with 8 minutes left in the game or less, and you're down and you need a bucket, right? Shoot the 3 when there's no stress on you. If it goes in, people losing their mind, you feel good. Maybe that rim gets bigger for you for later in the game. But if we're jacking 2 up when we're down, with less than half of the game to go, or less than half of the second half to go, that's when I'm like, I get a little bit tight, and I'm like, oh, buddy, I think there's someone else we would prefer shooting that shot. Now, if that being said, if he's going to grab it and they're giving him, 6-8 feet of space, shoot it, man. Like, you got to have the confidence to do that.
Yesterday, Rando, like they weren't even close to him when he shot the ball. His guy was in the paint. Like, like, and that's the thing is, it's not like he's just jacking him up. You know, the guy's in his face. So, like, his guy was in the paint, and I think it was also a lower shot clock, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. And I think it was like, oh, I need to shoot this ball or whatever. But no, I'm with you. Don't shoot them like late game if we absolutely need a bucket, unless you absolutely have to. I got you. But I'm saying if it's the first half and you're open, shoot it. Because again, that your defender has to at least respect that aspect of the game more. So, but no, I'm not. No, we're not taking 5 a game. 1-2 a game. If we hit them, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page there.
Yeah. Because I thought you were like, don't shoot him at all. I was like, no, listen, now he needs to shoot some.
No, yeah, I know, I agree. He has a good stroke. For a big man, it looks good coming off his hand.
Yeah.
It just when that's a shot, pressure shot. I would rather have Jackson, Barea, even Ortega, who has shown Lamont has shown in the pressure he can make them. When that fixture's real tight and you got to make it, that rim gets just about as tight as that fixture, right? So you got to be a skilled shooter to make it. And when he shoots it, it's like please go, and not you expect it to go in. But you're right. He's got the talent. If they're going to give him the space, he's got to shoot it. That's just how I feel every time I see it go in. Oh
Lord. Well,
you know what?
We have a week off, though.
I know people.
We have a week off
to
get Joe.
Jesus, we are simpaticos. I was just about to say that.
We literally on the same page at this point.
Yes. And I've seen that people like, man, I really want to play again, right? Like, I hate having a full week off after a loss. But one, this team needs to get healthy. And two, I need to get rid of that midweek stress of these games, man. Like, even Vandy at home beat Tennessee, so I don't feel, like super great
going to
about
Vandy
having
anymore.
to go there.
Yeah.
So like we gotta get healthy.
Away.
Yeah. So looking forward to next week, because by the time we record, it'll be after the Vandy game.
Mm-hmm.
I think whether or not Carr feels 80% or better, I don't feel good about Vandy. We should be able to beat them without Carr, though. That should be a game Ansley can step in and get a W.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting him and letting him get healthy, or maybe I let's start him so he gets a start and he plays very, very few minutes, because I need him to be able to guard. Oh boy, golly, let me look up his name. I'm blanking. From Tennessee here in a couple weeks.
I jump
just
out.
give him a break from break versus Vandy.
No,
Milicic.
I agree. I know.
That Milicic kid from Tennessee. He's he could go get a bucket.
Oh shoot, that's what I wanted.
You agree with sitting him though, or you think he should get some playing time to stay in the rhythm?
I mean, I think it just depends how he feels, right? Like obviously he was bad shape against Alabama, but I think obviously he's not practicing this week either, but if we can get him 80-90%, I mean, I would play him some, just so he can kind of stay in that rhythm and stay kind of within that part of it. But if he's like he was against Bama, then just set him. Like, we can't afford him to be hurt and be out, like any amount of time. That's my concern with him is, him sitting out more because he's just really that hurt.
And for those who weren't at the game, Jaden was in the student section, and they don't show a lot of the bench, but he had the heat rep on the entire time. I think he went back to the locker room a few times, and Jaden was saying he couldn't even sit down. Like, he spent most of the time standing up. So significant back pain. And what's weird is, you have back injuries, so do I. I think having the spasms that come and go are even worse because it's so much harder to treat. For me, I got herniated disc in my back. I know how to treat that if it starts kind of flaring up, right? Some ibuprofen and some bourbon, and I'm fixed. He can't do that.
Right.
He can't do that.
Yeah.
So, and so it's just like you got to almost try to keep moving, but when the spasms happen, it's kind of tough. but hopefully that medical staff can kind of get that figured out. But yeah, I think you gotta sit him or play him. Keep his starts going, and then hit the bench. And if Carr is the missing piece to beat Vandy, even though he just got Tennessee, I get that. But
then we have more problems than just Carr. Just saying,
Agreed.
Like if he's what we have to beat Vandy, then we have more problems than just Carr.
And I do think we need a good game from Lamont. I also would like to be able to jump out and, by the time we get to the, under 8 timeout for the second half, we see a lot of Travis Perry and not so much Lamont to get him some extra rest too, because that battle between Lamont and Zakai Ziegler that's coming up here in a couple weeks.
That's going to be huge.
It's going to be epic.
Huge.
It's going to be epic. And I think that's going to be the turning point for the game, is like which of the point guards can handle the other one. And if they exit each other out, who's the guy who could step up? Who's the Jackson Robinson, or is it Chaz Linear, that sort of thing? Who's the guy who can
who's the next in line to
play better?
Take over? Yeah, no, I agree with you. But yeah, this week off is huge. Like just rest wise, our injuries, and it's sad that SEC basketball is almost like football now, where we beat the crap out of each other the entire conference season. Like every game is just rough, and you're gonna have injuries like this. You're gonna have players playing hurt, having to sit or whatever, because it's every game's a battle for 40 minutes, and it just is what it is. Which I'm happy with like that, but also it's like, dang, man.
You can't predict anything in the SEC. You can't. I mean, we beat Florida. Florida goes and just embarrasses Tennessee
by 30.
And we beat Mississippi State. And then they go and beat Ole Miss yesterday, I believe, in overtime.
They did in overtime.
Vandy beats Tennessee. What else?
Georgia almost came back Florida. And beat Auburn. Yeah, Missouri beat Florida, I think, and Georgia almost beat Auburn.
They've had a couple close, like it could easily have been, wins that get them in like the top 15 type category that they just come up short. But yeah, you can't predict anything as SEC, especially on the road. We lost to a very, very good team at home, but when you travel on the road, any of these teams, outside of right now of Arkansas and South Carolina, I don't think, and maybe probably LSU as well, there's not really a bad loss in the SEC, especially if it's on the road.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. And the amount of quad one games we have still remaining to play it's asinine. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's what? Who? Like and that's the thing too, is with SEC this year, I think there's Arkansas is a quad 2, and maybe South Carolina are quad 2. Everyone else is quad 1. Everybody. And I think all of them are in the top 90 as far as like rankings and power ratings and stuff going. I think South Carolina's at 90, so it's insane. Like it's a battle every time on the floor. So it's having this week off is great for us, obviously. But there's no outside of those 3, actually, there's no bad losses.
Yeah. And I know you put out there some questions as we kind of wrap this thing up. And my messages are continuous questions about Caleb Wilson. And I tell you, there is a battle right now for the young man. Joe is staying steadfast in his belief that he's coming to Kentucky. I have heard that, God, let's go, Ray Davis. Sorry, I'm going to have this football game on. He just had a hell of a run. I missed that dude.
Shout out to Ray Davis for having his first playoff touchdown, by the way. Shout out Ray Davis.
And I think he's going to have a couple more if the Bills pull this one out, man. He's looking talented. Not that you care, but I have James Cook as my fantasy running back. And I thought that was a good keeper until Ray Davis just kind of started going off. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do because he might steal some touches from the Georgia boy. But back on track. Golly, I'm like a goldfish. Just can't keep myself on track.
Squirrel.
But
Squirrel.
Yeah. I know Kentucky is at a point where they're not nervous for Caleb Wilson. And I don't know that that's tied to him committing to Kentucky. I feel like that's tied to they've won the recruitment. He's either going to come here based off of what Pope can do with him, or he's going to go to UNC for the massive paycheck that he's getting. You saw the number. Pretty crazy. Here's the thing, though. The reason why Pope isn't and the staff isn't super concerned is because there's already dudes in the portal that they can split that money up to and go get for better value. Not one is not as talented as Caleb Wilson, but the two and what they can do. And for those who are listening, it's the 7-footers that you all been asking for that we should go get. So, you could go do a little Google search or Twitter search and find who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But playing up in the upper Midwest or some Ivy League schools. So guys that they're going to go look at and get this. So if we get Caleb Wilson, that's a massive get. There has been a lot of time spent in this recruitment of him. Yeah, a lot of staff calories that have gone to making him feel like he is wanted. That being said, if I'm on the staff and I'm Pope, then I'm done. I'm done with it. Hey, young man, 100%. Here's what we offer you. Here's your cash value of what we think. And if you want to go play for UNC, you should do that. Good luck. If you want to come play for Kentucky and be seen on ESPN every single day that we play, again, in top 10 matchups with, even though they suck, Jay Billis and Jimmy Dykes, on the call and those sort of things, then you should come to Kentucky. But him going and seeing a Caden Lewis and watching him play while all this crazy Caleb Wilson drama is going on, I think that tells me what I need to know. I might be reading too far in between the lines, but I think if he was super worried, right, wrong, or different, whether he's coming to Kentucky or not,
he'd seeing Caleb Wilson.
He'd probably be on a plane going to see Caleb Wilson, right? He's not. Yep. He's going to see the kid who's already committed to us, right?
And shout out to him because Caleb Lewis is a perfect fit for you guys.
Yes. Yeah. Did you see that interview that he just did after his game? Yeah. I'll tell you, he said something that I kind of raised my eyebrows about. He was like, I'm dedicated to Pope and the staff. And I'm like, I'd rather him say dedicated to Kentucky, but then he kept going. Kept going and everything. He was talking about the team. He was dialed into how the team felt. He talked about how there was this narrative of the team being soft and he appreciated the guys stepping out. Everything he said after that Pope comment was we. Like the dude is already in Lexington, basically.
He's living here already.
He hasn't put on a jersey yet for a game, but he's already in the locker room. So I saw that and I was like, I don't know if I like that. And then he kept going. I was like, okay, this is the dude. This guy is locked in, man.
Yeah, he's legit.
Very, very mature young man. And after talking to his dad on the space, you could see why. His dad is a no nonsense, but very uplifting human being. And I got some parenting tips for him that I wrote down for later on for sure. So appreciate him coming on. But Salena, I think that wraps it up. And now we're let's get healthy. Thursday will be a hell of a ride. And then we got a game on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. As much as these games give me heart attacks, I am loving every minute of them. So I'm ready for the next one already.
Yeah, and I can tell the season is different by the way my childish behind takes these losses because last year against LSU, last year again, in the tournament, the SEC tournament, some of these losses that we took, I was losing sleep. I was outside throwing things because I was so upset because you just didn't know, what is this team going to do? This team is so talented. This game, I was very upset. I was bummed out, but afterwards, I listened to Pope. I put some tweets out there, kind of doing my normal therapy routine. And then I was back to watching, playoff football. And it was just hey, I believe this dude's going to figure it out. I truly believe. Tega said it best. He's like, hey, every time we've taken an L, we bounce back. And I'm like, I believe you, dude. I believe you. You're going to go smack me
they've
around
proven
and I
it
feel
every
good
time.
about it. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So no, I'm with it.
Every game makes us nervous, like you said. We'll be uneasy. We talked about Vandy just beat Tennessee, so we'll have some uneasy feelings. But I think deep down in the gut, we trust this team and Pope. And that wasn't there before. So, man.
Agreed.
That's good. But, Salena, enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too.
I'm going to go watch some playoff football. I put out there about we should cheer for Oweh's brother. I completely forgot. I brain dead that Ray Davis was on the team. So you're probably not going to get a lot of support from Big Blue Nation with Ray Davis running the ball for the Bills and Lamar Jackson, the Cardinal, being the quarterback. But I tried, Oweh. I tried. May the best man win. I'll let you represent your brother for the fan base.
Yeah, that's right. Well, enjoy your Sunday, Rando, and we will meet again next Sunday to discuss the Vandy game.
And the Women Cats. Let's go.
And the Women Cat Thursday. Yep.
Another W. One thing before we end this, I know I keep extending this thing. I was thinking about this before the show. We talked about the Final Four for both teams. I was like, if right now you had to tell me, like you say, one of the Kentucky teams is getting to the Final Four, you have to put all your money on whether it's going to be the women's or the men's. I'm taking the women's side right now based off how they performed. Honestly, I think they're that talented. I think they are that connected. They've shown that they can sustain wins. So if I'm betting on one of them, I think it's them. They are so talented and underrated. And if I'm putting my own personal money on it, it's going to be on Georgia and Kenny Brooks.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. Right now, that's how I would feel too. Yeah.
Well, on that note, go effing Cats.
Go effing Cats.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Bleed Blue Network podcast. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of Kentucky sports with us. Don't forget to stay connected by following us on Twitter at BleedBNation. Your feedback means the world to us. So take a moment to leave a review. Not only does it help us improve, but it also helps others discover the show. Until next time, keep cheering, keep listening, and keep bleeding blue.